Hello book fighters, it is Thursday, I'm Katie, and this month we're discussing Slaughterhouse-Five. I feel like Slaughterhouse-Five is a lot like Fight Club in that the majority of its fan base don't realize that they are the ones the book is criticizing. Like, this book has sort of become the jaded slacker manifesto. I think in large part because of the overall so it goes motif that comes up again and again every time somebody dies. Like, these people who read it, they take it to mean like, nothing matters. Don't do anything, because nothing matters. Just sit on your couch and be stoned, so it goes. Which is, you know, not the point at all. You have this continual refrain of so it goes, but you also have repetition of the poem, prayer, whatever. You've all heard it a million times before. Give me the strength to change the things I can, the wisdom to accept the things I can't, and the something, know the difference. I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. And I think that you can't separate the two. They're important. They work together. So it goes is a way of acknowledging that death happens, and it will happen to everyone, and you can't do anything about it. So you just have to accept it. And that is what the so it goes business is all about, which I think it's missed by a lot of its readership. For me personally, it's kind of reached the point that if someone says Slaughterhouse-Five is one of their favorite books, I just assume that they're going to be a really obnoxious person. But of course, I'm not going to criticize the book for its ill-advised fan base. It was a really excellent book. Obviously, it was amazing. But it's sort of hard to talk about for me. I feel like I'm going to have a little trouble with it this month because, like some of the other books that we've read so far this year, there's not really a plot. There's not a story that takes you from the beginning to the end. There's just sort of an accumulation of subplots. I feel like I said this before recently during the Once and Future King in the Ill-Named Night. That was the one. Where it's just a lot of little stories that all come together, and they're all sort of tied together with their themes, but it's not a story that makes it easy to talk about. So hopefully something one of you guys says inspires some sort of idea in me. But today, I'm going to do it Zay Frank style and just talk about what this made me think of. So a couple years ago, I did a lot of traveling for a few months, and at one point, I was driving from Texas to somewhere else, and I was driving down the road, nothing around but Texas for miles and lifetimes in every direction. But then, up in front of me, out of my car, I see like a genuine cowboy with a genuine cowboy hat on an actual horse, genuinely wrangling an actual calf that was running away. Like, this, it was happening. It wasn't a show. It wasn't something Disney put on. This was a real thing that was happening right now. And the whole experience was just sort of surreal to me, being in the Texas hills and seeing an actual cowboy. It felt a little bit like traveling through time, because you just assume that that sort of thing doesn't happen anymore. Like, as a country or culture or whatever, we've moved on, and that is all in the past, and it doesn't exist anymore except in our memories, and we've all moved on. But that's not actually true. Everything that has ever existed still exists in some way. There's just more things that exist now. And I think the same thing is kind of true for people. Like, who you were at 5 years old isn't a different person. It's still part of you now. There's just more of you. The only you that you aren't now are the yous you haven't been yet. But when you're 30, you're still going to be 25-year-old you, and 20-year-old you, and 15-year-old you, and 5-year-old you. Those are all going to be together. And I sort of thought of that when the Tralfamadorians were explaining that humans look like these centipedes with the babies at the end and the old people at the front. But I think that's something that really rang true for me. Like, all of the yous still exist right here. It's not different people living different moments that sort of like pass the baton of memories on to the next person. So that's what this book made me think of. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about it in the coming days. Hopefully I'll see a few more of you, though seeing Dan again was wonderful because he's been gone for, you know, even longer than I have. But now that I've reached the end of talking about the book for today, I do want to remind you all that next month we are talking about The Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling. It was going to be Vampire Month, but we switched it around. Sarah explained it in her video, but we switched it around. So next month we're talking about the new J.K. Rowling book, and then in December we were going to read The Odyssey, but we're not doing that anymore. We're just making it a mythology month. So we sort of like mashed up the 2 months together, and so it'll be just another theme month, like Children's Literature Month. And I do want to apologize for having been so absent from the channel recently. I just got a new job kind of at the beginning of August, but I still had my old job, and so I was working like 6 or more days a week, 20-hour days. I barely had time to sleep. I didn't even get to the point where I got Ender's Game out of my books that are out in the garage and brought it into the house. That's how little I was able to do during that month. But my schedule's calmed down, so I should be here more now, and I apologize for abandoning you all, but we're all together now. Alright, I've rambled enough. Julia, I will hopefully see you tomorrow. If not, Dan, I'll see you on Monday.